All right, okay. Hello everybody. Hi, this is me, Ladies Chauskas from Easy Markets, and this is the Daily Pitch International breaking section, which you can find on our YouTube channel, to which you can also subscribe. So that would not allow you not to miss any of these upcoming videos, these quick little updates that I do on separate economic events. And in general, I do run a webinar every day, so a live webinar which you can always join, ask questions if you wish. So yeah, look, but right now the idea here is to discuss the British CPI numbers, which are coming out tomorrow on Wednesday. So yes, I'm recording this one on Tuesday. So yes, tomorrow, Wednesday, we're having in the morning, early hours in European morning, we're getting the British inflation numbers. I'll dig into all that. But before we go any further, as always, a quick read through our risk disclaimer. So yes, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendations and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. So yeah, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest. I'm not going to disappear anywhere. So yes, look, we have the data coming out. So hey, I think it's gonna be quite important because it's gonna be quite interesting. Look, before we jump into the charts, just a quick mentioning of our Easy Markets website, which you can always check out for more information about us. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me just prepare the screen very quickly. So yes, inflation numbers. Inflation numbers from UK. Now, what's currently the expectation? The expectation is that the core is going to drop from 3.6 to 3.4, and the year-on-year headline inflation will drop from 2.2 to 1.9. Now, let's start off from the fact that the headline inflation is much lower than the core, and it's kind of in line with the U.S. situation, because I have recorded a video on the Canadian inflation, which is coming out on Tuesday. And if I don't know when you're watching this video, you can check out the Canadian inflation situation, because, like I said, that's a little bit of a different story, which in my opinion is quite interesting. But here, UK inflation is somewhat in line with the US scenario. And what I mean by that is that the headline inflation is lower and the core inflation is higher, and I would say significantly higher. Now, the headline inflation is lower. We understand why, because it takes into consideration food and energy prices. Maybe food is not the biggest driver, but energy, of course, the fact that oil has been on the lower side lately, yeah, that's something that everybody knows and everybody understands. However, the core does not include food and energy prices, and we can see that in general the service sector is kind of in general, everything, the whole sector, the other sectors are really still remain elevated, inflated, and inflation is not really dropping. So we know that the BoE's target is 2%, the same as with the BOC, the Fed. Yes, everybody has the same, almost the same, inflation target of 2%. So the headline inflation is there. So probably this is something that they brag about, that we managed to bring inflation lower to 2%. So look how well we're doing. However, the core is not there. So that's where the issue remains. And looking at the, for example, GBP USD situation here, I mean, I talked about this one in my morning webinars, live webinars, which you can always jump into 6 o'clock GMT time. It's a live session. You can ask questions if you wish. But yeah, I talked about this and I said, look, this here, there is potential for a rebound. And let's say if inflation numbers come out on the higher side. For example, let's say it comes out somewhere not at 1.9, but remains at somewhere at 2%. Now, and let's say the core also comes out somewhere closer to the previous number at 3.6 instead of. So basically, comes out higher than the forecast. Then yes, we could see the pound strengthening a little bit because that could push away the BoE from cutting rates, because as we know, they have been on this cutting rates moment, and yes, so far, I mean, they've dropped it from 5.25 to 5%. In general, somebody might say, but hey, that's still way too high. And if inflation, for example, comes out on the lower side, then yes, they will continue their cutting mode, because I said this before in one of my videos, and this idea that, look, if everybody expects, let's say, inflation to pick up at a later stage, then you would need to, in order to control inflation, you would need to hike rates. And to hike rates from, let's say, current levels, or let's say previous levels, that would have been a little bit too much. So that's why the Fed was on this radical moment of cutting quickly rates. ECB is there as well. And by the way, ECB is on Thursday. It's releasing its interest rate decision where they're going to cut rates again. So and the BoC is also in this cutting mode. So everybody is in this cutting mode. However, UK is a little bit lagging behind in terms of that. If we apply that logic, and they would need to actually cut again in order to kind of bring their rates lower if let's say we all believe that inflation will pick up again. So and this is where it's kind of pushing me towards the idea that despite, even let's say if inflation comes out higher on all fronts here, they would still go ahead and do the cuts, just purely because of that idea that they need to drop it to let's say closer maybe to 4% somewhere in order to have some room for maneuverability in case inflation starts picking up again. So, but again, that's just my thought. For now, let's have a look what's going to happen here, what could potentially happen here with the upcoming inflation numbers here. And yeah, if those come out, let's say on the lower side, look, the pound has been already on the lower side against the US dollar, but we're at a very clear key area of support. I talked about this before, so 1.3045 is something that I'm watching together with this 100-day EMA. So if inflation comes out on the lower side, look, this could break it easily, and probably we could see a further decline towards this upside line here. And I'm talking about the technicals purely right now, so we could see the move towards this upside line taken from the lowest point of April of 2024. Around here we have the 200-day EMA as well, which could be a nice good target. So hey, let's see if that's gonna carry any significance, of course, but for now that's my game plan. But if inflation somehow manages to remain elevated, then look, I was talking about this idea here of possibly seeing a head and shoulders pattern, with the left shoulder being here, the right, the head, and maybe we could form the right shoulder. My only problem is that it's not a very ideal picture, to be honest. We already kind of distanced ourselves. It would be a really far shoulder here, But again, we cannot exclude this idea. For now, let's put it this way: as long as we stay above the 1.3045 zone right here, there is a chance for a rebound, a push higher. My arrow is only up until here, up until this 45-day EMA, because I talked about this idea before as well. Whenever we see a strong decline first and then a gradual decline, we tend to push higher. But not by much, and that's why maybe this 45-day EMA could be a nice good initial target. So like I said, just keep this idea in your heads. Again, keep your eyes on the inflation number, which is coming out tomorrow morning. If somehow we see, let's say, a decline in the headline inflation, for example, this is just a scenario. If we see a decline in headline inflation, but for example, the core remains somewhere the same, somewhere let's say let's say it comes out at 3.5, lower than the previous, but still higher than the forecast. Like I said, that could be a bit of a problem for the BoE in terms of justifying the cuts later on. However, this could boost the British pound a little bit. So let's see how this is going to play out. There will be winners and losers in all this, of course. Certainly, I keep on saying to everybody, don't try to predict the market. Wait for the number. We don't try to predict the data. Wait for the numbers to come out and then do something about it. So that's it for me. I hope this little section kind of helped. So this Daily Pitch International breaking news section that we have, where I dig into these economic events separately. So yes, but in general, you can subscribe to our channel. Like I said, in order not to miss the upcoming ones. Tomorrow there will be one that I'll do on the ECB, the upcoming ECB interest rate decision on Thursday. So yes, like I said, subscribe, and hopefully you'll enjoy that one as well. So I hope you enjoyed this one. So yes, thank you very much for your time, ladies and gentlemen. As always, stay safe, have your stop losses in place, risk only what you can afford to lose, don't overtrade, and everything will be fine. And I'll see you later on. And like I said, you can join my live sessions every morning, 6 o'clock GMT time. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.